Welcome to Shomach Shava on the Daf, Shir sponsor Nishmas Ambiak Shom Leabas Yitzchok. We're holding in Sanhedrin Daf Chov Zayin. The Gemara, and Amud Beis, towards the end, the Gemara brings the idea that Ish Becheto Yumsu. Nobody dies for the sin of his father, and a father doesn't die for the sin of his son. So the Gemara asks, but it says, Poiket Ovan Ovo Salbonim. Says the Gemara, that's only when they're following the footsteps of their father. And this, as the Mefarshim explained, the Maharal says in Tiferes Yisrael, if they're continuing the footsteps of their father, that means they're a part of their father. But if they start their own journey, the father is a Rasha, and the son is a Tzaddik, there's a disconnect. But the Chura, what's very hard to understand, is we know that there is such a thing that the sins of the father do go to the next generations. One classic example is what we just saw very recently in the Gemara regarding Bnei Eli. Bnei Eli sinned, and because of that, all their children die early. Even Abaye and Rava, the biggest Tzadikim, they get punished for Bnei Eli. And many times we find the idea of a chait of a father hurts his son. If a father is not careful with Nidorim, the son will die. So how do we understand this? How do we understand the concept that a Vera father does go to the son, even if the son is not a Rasha? So the Ma'at said this is a question in the Sefer Chasidim in Ois Kuf Samech Dalet. And he brings this question, brings the example from Bnei Eli. And then he goes to say answer, which is a little difficult answer to understand. But we'll mention what he says. It's clear in the Sefer Chasidim. He brings the medrash that says, meaning when there's a bad avera, the avera influences the future and the past as well. That's what it says by Avraham Avinu, that he was right if he ran after the Malachim until dawn. What happened in dawn? He saw that his children will worship over the Zorah. So the future influenced Avraham Avinu. And says the Sefer Chasidim, Kol sheken, if a person has a midah toiva, he does mitzvahs, that it will influence the future and the past. So Yimele is the Sefer Chasidim davar, which is very hard to accept, but he says like this: if Abaye and Rava's mitzvahs were strong enough, that would cause the Bnei Eli would not get punished with this klala that all the children will die early, because the future Ma'asim Tovim Abaye v'Rava would impact what happened to Bnei Eli. He brings an example to this, that regarding a child who was born in Shabbos, they had to do Chilul Shabbos for him, he will die in Shabbos as well, because he caused Chilul Shabbos. So it says Sefer Chasidim, but if he's a big tzaddik, what do you want from him? It's not his fault he was born in Shabbos. Says Sefer Chasidim the same idea. If he's such a big tzaddik, and he did such great mitzvahs and Torah on his level, so that would influence also the time of his birth. He would not be born in Shabbos because of the Ma'asim Tovim that come later. So in a sense, if the averis of the father come to the child, that means that the child, there's something there which is not perfect in his level. Because if it would be perfected, that would go back and influence what the father has done, or at least what the father is being punished, that should not affect the child. Another mahalach comes out based on what the Chidor writes over here in the Sefer Pesach Einayim. And the Chidor brings in the name of Guri Hari, the Talmidim of the Arizal, that it really depends when the father did the Aveiro. If the father did the Aveiro after the children were born, so his Aveiro will not influence the kids if they're not Oichsim Amaisa Avuseh. But if the father did the Aveiro before the children were born, so then when the children were born, it was after the Aveiro, any punishment that happened to the father comes to the kids as well. And this makes a lot of sense, because the pshat is like this. The children were born already, bitnai, as if there's a condition already, that any children are going to be born, they will be punished with the punishment of the father. That's part of the formula. If a father gets a punishment that influences the kids, any kids who will be born from here on, they were born into that punishment. Dugma Ladova we find in Rashi and Bereshis regarding Lemech. Lemech told his wives. Lemech was a 7th generation to Cain. So he says Cain was punished that 7 generations after his children will be completely gone. So So it says Lamech, if Cain, who was a Rasha, got 7 generations, so me, that I'm not a Rasha, I should get at least 70 generations. So it says Rashi, that's a Kalvochem Shtos, because in Ken HaKadosh Baruch Hu goyves choyvo mekayim es dibura. If so, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will never fulfill what he said. He told Cain that he has 7 generations. So if the 7th generation is at tzaddik and he gets more generations, so that punishment will not come to fruition. And that's mamish what the Chidah is saying. Because Lamech was born into the punishment. Cain was given 7 generations. He's one of the 7 generations. There's no more extension, because that's part of what came into the world after Cain did the chait. If the Gzera happened before, it's chal on the generations, even if they're going to be tzadikim. V'ayin heitev v'doik. Anyone who wants to join the Shomach Shava email list to WhatsApp group, please email shomachshava@gmail.com.